Give friendship, shalom, and greetings to you all. How's your Halloween? You know, it's the weekend to set your clocks back. We've set the clocks back decades. If you weren't frightened enough, then look at the world. There's now the hunting of Jews, not just in Russian airports, but in the once great Ivy League schools of America, the once bastions of free thought, speech, and democracy. If this is not stopped, and not just stopped but stamped out, it will only get worse. I once thought all lives matter, but I guess that's not the case. Certainly now Jewish lives do not matter. Students are now afraid to go to class. The Brooklyn Bridge is shut down. Governments and countries call for and stand for the complete elimination of Israel and all Jews, and that's become acceptable speech. Jewish people everywhere are now afraid, like they haven't been since the 1930s. Not just to go to school, but to go to work, to ride public transit, to be seen, to be known. It is the great wake-up call. Perhaps someone should blow a shofar. You know, if you like the way Iran turned out after the Ayatollah took power in 79, you'll love the new Middle East that Hamas has promised. There'll be no democratic nations, no peace, no tolerance, no gardens, no Israel, no Jews. When they've killed all the Jews, who's next? I guess what remaining Christians there are would be next. So as anti-Semitism becomes acceptable behavior, Canada and the United States call for a cease of Islamophobia. What am I missing? I haven't seen the senseless slaughter of Muslims, other than by their own. Haven't seen them be degraded, raped, tortured, beheaded, or their babies thrown in ovens. Haven't seen the marches and calls for their throats to be cut. But at least we have the United Nations, the most anti-Israel and anti-Semitic organization on earth, that just made Iran the head of the Human Rights Commission. The world may never come together again, my friends, but at least we can still come together. We still gather, as we do when we come together as a group to honor and pray and observe as a community, a collective consciousness of seekers showing faith, any and all faith, because all are accepted. Love, any and all love, because all love is accepted, which is a true chavura, the fellowship, as we express our nature of kindness, compassion, thoughts, feelings, hopes, dreams, and wishes that unites us all in this community house of spirit, Beth Ruach, sharing, bringing light, keeping fear at bay. And even though together, we are always individual in our approach, each connecting in his or her their own way. So once again, please do go ahead and invite everybody, physically, digitally, psychically, emotionally, spiritually, any way at all, to gather and share. From Psalm 133, the Hine Matov, come together. Hine Matov, Ai, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov, Ai, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. How good, how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters together. Community. 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 Together. You know, we support each other in this community. Let's all spread love, goodwill, and fellowship to the world. Remember, friends, this is you setting aside a little bit of sacred time in your sacred space to honor and converse with whatever you happen to believe in, because we all believe in something. It's a part of your kavanah, your intention that you hear me talk about all the time. It's what you put out to the universe. It's your goodwill. Goodwill and intention are the roots of what you control, of what you can correct. It's only up to you. It's your intention that sets in motion everything that occurs in your lives, my friends. Let's take some time now. Let's use that intention, some of that goodwill, some light, some healing. Let's send it out to whoever you know that needs it. Healing and renewal for everybody. Float through space, finding those in need. So send it out for those you know, for the souls and spirits of everybody you love. Think of whoever that needs healing and renewal and love, or just plain goodwill. Focus on them. Call their names. Not just for people. It's for our pets. It's for the earth. It is the healing of the world. The tikkun olam. It's part of our spiritual genetic makeup, and a part of that healing of the world is when we send thoughts and energy for health and renewal and goodwill for everyone. They don't have to be sick. It's for those in our hearts and our minds. So let's all send that energy out for the people in need everywhere, and special thoughts and prayers for those in need of assistance, such as now, when with heavy hearts and concern we share the pain of those killed and those still missing. We pray for those who need prayer. We don't have to know them. We want health, recovery, good life, and for everybody around us. For Alex and Kay, for Dory and Gloria, for Gus and Bruce, for the Cardinal, for Johnny and Fern, for Maria and John, for Ronnie, Connie, for David Mookie, for Snoopy, for Danny and Nina, for Tally, for Ryan and Polly and Eddie, for all those suffering and in need. Let's not forget to include the familiars of our lives, all of our sacred animal friends, for everyone you know in need, for the whole world, and for the one and only bee. Let's continue to send goodwill and pray for the release of all the poor unfortunate hostages, or simply the innocent victims of terror. Friends, it is the kindness, the healing wishes, goodwill, and love we all send out. It just circles the world finding those in need. So thank you, each of you, for all you do, for all you care. Because the world's a world of spirit, and spirit, my friends, never dies. May the source of strength bless the one before us. Help us find the courage. Make our lives a blessing. The renewal of body. The renewal of spirit. Let us say, Amen. Bishop Baruch, let us all have our spirits renewed. This is the great prayer for healing, which we call upon God to heal as He has healed before. Bishop Baruch, may He who blessed, because all healing is a blessing. Let's all send and receive healing and renewal energy in our efforts to love, to share, to care, to grow. And we still celebrate together. We got a chance to celebrate Ellen's birthday, and it made me think of a song I hadn't thought of in almost 14 years. I know today's your birthday. I know today's for you. It comes around but once a year. So do what you want to do, and you followed your dream. And a magic you choose. I know, it seems like yesterday. The great power of memory. Now you might have noticed. Two themes that have occurred. They're prevalent throughout the Bible. The first is that creation was not real creation. It was separation, distinction, and division. You're going to see that a lot more as we continue. While differences are essential in life, we can make them very negative, not positive. And we're going to see plenty of that too. In fact, we see that in life every day. The other is about making judgments too quickly, and that's usually because we do not ask enough questions and gather the facts. Have you asked enough questions to make a proper determination? Or do you judge? Do you judge books by their covers? You know, it's an expression for a reason. We have seen few questions and lots of judgments, and many more coming, and that too is something too common in current times. Now, last week we saw God talk to us in our dreams. He told Pharaoh about Sarah. We met an angel. An intro into this week. A common occurrence is this week we meet at least one, or maybe two. Just say the word. We become enamored. Who doesn't wonder who their angels are when we see them, hear them, feel them, when we get to know them? You know, we probably talk to them more than to God. For parking spaces, for lottery win, for love. There's no limit to our wants. We briefly met them when we met Noah for the first time and learned of the Nephilim. And then last week, they were significant with Hagar and Abraham. And this week, we probably get the most exposure in a short period, beginning with the great annunciation for Isaac, the story of Lot, Sodom and Gomorrah, and the penultimate reading in Judaism, the Akedah, the binding of Isaac. All of those are told with angels. You, angel, you got me under your wings. The way you walk and the way you talk, I swear it would make me sing. Now this week we read the penultimate reading, Vayera, and he appeared. It is the reading that, if nothing else, sets the tone for father-son relationships that echoes through time. Us with our fathers with their fathers, our sons with us, man with God. It is a reading that has everything. And it begins with the appearance of the Lord and a couple of his messengers, angels. Genesis 18:1, and the Lord appeared to him at the oaks of Mamre. He was sitting at the tent entrance in the heat of the day, and he raised his eyes and saw. And here were 3 people standing over him. And he saw, and he ran towards them from the tent entrance and bowed to the ground. Now we see it as God who appears to Abraham, and then there were 3. The concept of angels and what they represent has been an ongoing debate for thousands of years. There is the belief that the angel was a manifested form of God, and thereby almost impossible to know who you were talking to. Who was interceding? Was it God? Was it an angel? Is Abraham meeting God? Is he meeting people? Is he meeting angels? Several of the biblical stories involving angels contain confusion such as this. Confusions between when it is the deity and when it is the angel who is speaking or doing something. But it's confusing only so long as we imagine angels as beings who are independent or separate from God. These early biblical texts actually show us angels are simply the expression of God's presence. The biblical conception of God is that God cannot possibly be seen by a human. A human will not see me and live, and cannot possibly be contained in any known space. Took an untrodden path once, where the swift don't win the race. Goes to the worthy, who can define the word of truth. Took a stranger to teach me, look into justice's beautiful face. See an eye for an eye, and a tooth for a tooth. Eye and eye. Creation, where one's nature neither honors nor forgives. Eye and eye, one says to the other, no man sees my face and lips. Now God in this conception can nonetheless make himself known to humans by sort of emanation that is visible to human eyes. It becomes a shared existence, a concrete expression of the divine presence, which is otherwise inexpressible to human beings. What the human sees when such an essence is in front of him or her looks like people, like a man, which is what we're often described as in the Bible. That's what we get to see. We all know people who feel they've been with God. Perhaps you have. These may be the strangers we encounter who have the profound effect on our lives. Was it God? Was it an angel? Another kind of a messenger? The book of Genesis is an incredibly unique book of the Bible and is full of these encounters. The interaction between God and individuals is unlike anywhere else, and usually it is in one-on-one encounters. It's not till the Great Epiphany at Sinai that God reveals himself to a mass of people. Now, the word angel itself, it's the English version of the Greek angelos. Now, the Hebrew was melech, whose root 3 letters, mem, lamed, kaf, MLK, meant messenger. Now, remember, all Hebrew words have a root word of just 3 letters. There were no vowels. Hence the similarity between so many words. The word king, malach, right? You know, the word for angel, melech. Okay, it's the same root. And the king was the political messenger of God. Now, we finally settled on those cute little, Cupid-looking beings as angels, cherubim. But 2 weeks ago, we read about the cherubim placed at the entry to Eden to keep the displaced man from returning. And those cherubim you did not want to run into. Now, in some ways, an angel is an identifiable thing itself. And in some ways, it's merely a representation of the divine presence in human affairs. We never really know. But does it matter? I don't think it does. Genesis 18:10, and he said, I shall come back to you at the time of life, and here, Sarah, your wife, will have a son. The great annunciation. Now, if you want to see the greatest painting of an annunciation, take a look at the Da Vinci annunciation. It's really quite incredible. Abraham's 100, Sarah's 90. Okay. And it's now been announced by God or an angel that she's going to have a baby, a son. And Sarah laughed inside her and said, after I become worn out, I might have pleasure. My Lord is old. Well, who wouldn't laugh? But this is a message to all of us. You're never too old to get pleasure in life. When you read this, take note of the discussion about to take place. You see, this parsha is about relationships between host and guest, husband and wife, father and son. And all are influenced by the ultimate relationship, man and his creator. So God and Abraham are about to have a chat regarding people and their morals, behaviors, attitudes. God decides to let Abraham in on what he's planning. He's sending these other two beings that are with him, these angels, to go check on Sodom. If it's as God has heard, he will destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. Abraham argues with him, but we know the story. It's a wonderful one. And who could forget Lot's wife turning, ignoring the order and looking back and being turned into that pillar of salt to this day. When we dip our challah in salt, it is a reminder of God's word and strength and gifts and power, and that we should not look back. Not to the past, my friends, but to look instead to the future. But I want to jump ahead to this miraculous birth. Genesis 21:2. And Sarah became pregnant and gave birth to a son for Abraham in his old age, at the appointed time that God had spoken. Genesis 22:1. And it was after these things, and God tested Abraham, and he said to him, Abraham. And he said, I'm here. Well, you know what? The Greek and Samaritan versions have his name called twice. Abraham, Abraham. It's that double name calling formula. I mentioned it last week. You'll see it used in key places, and that is a life-defining moment whenever it occurs. This is now life-defining. He will now be told to sacrifice his son. Genesis 22:2, when he said, take your son, your only one, whom you love, Isaac, go to the land of Moriah, make him a burnt offering there, on one of the mountains that I'll say to you. I took that same journey. I walked that same path as Abraham. I looked out, and I saw what Abraham saw. This marks the near sacrifice as a defining event in Abraham's life and in the destiny of his descendants. Abraham's being directed to one of the most famous places in the world. I still remember how fortunate I was to have spent so much time looking out at it every morning. It truly is magical. The mark of Abraham's personality is in his obedience. He will obey anything that his God commands him. Leave your land, leave your birthplace, leave your father's house. Circumcise yourself, your son, your household. Circumcise your new son at 8 days old. Each of these he does. Even if he's commanded to sacrifice his child, he will do it. There are no arguments or even questions. He questions and argues about, Sodom and Gomorrah, but not this order to kill his son. He hears the voice of God and he follows. We all hear the voice of God. But when most of us ask for ID and it's not presented, we ignore what God has to say. God said to Abraham, kill me a son. Abe said, man, it must be putting me on. God said, no. Abe said, what? God said, you can do what you want, Abe, but next time you see me coming, you better run. Well, Abe says, where you want this killing done? God says it on Highway 60. Genesis 22:10. And Abraham put out his hand and took the knife to slaughter his son. And an angel of the Lord called to him from the skies and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, I'm here. And he said, don't put your hand out toward the boy. Don't do anything to him. This marks not just the most significant reading in the Bible, but the permanent history of one of the most important relationships on earth, that of father and son. Like I said, Abraham argued over the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, but not over the sacrifice of his son. Now, we talked last week about midrashim, the stories that explain, and there's a fantastic midrash about the conversation between God and Abraham concerning this sacrifice. And the missing parts of the conversation are filled in because we only get to see one side of it. Yes, my friends, the world is sacred, so is everything in it. Express your gratitude, light a candle, make a wish. Celebrate your life and the lives of those you love, share your feelings with them. Live free, be free, honor your freedom, be well, be happy, be blessed. Share and honor the light, and all who live in the light and continue to shine. Continue to send everybody you know goodwill and love. Pray for peace and freedom for everyone, and end to terror and hatred. Remember, we're a community. We learn together. We celebrate with each other. We love each other. We share this right together, men and women equally. Let's all send out love, not fear. Send out peace, harmony, goodwill, and healing for all who need it. And please do learn to forgive and learn to love. Open your hearts and honor the relationships of your life. And tell those you love that you love them. You may not get another chance. Examine your intentions and use them to imprint your will on the universe, because we set in motion everything that happens in our lives. It's our intention. Our Kavanaugh, cause, our effect, everything's linked. You always have time to forgive and be forgiven because you have the knowledge of what's good and bad. So acknowledge what you've done wrong to yourself, to God, to any person you've wronged. Ask forgiveness. But do so with sincerity, accountability, vulnerability. Forgive those who've hurt you. You'll learn to be forgiving and compassionate in life, because the secret of forgiveness, compassion, and peace is in your acceptance. Can you accept yourself, other people in the world just as they are? Some of us can, but most of us can't. Can you accept life as it is without trying to control it? Because if you do, you can experience the peace that acceptance brings. But keep on dreaming, my friends. Keep on being, keep sharing, keep shining, keep teaching. Keep spreading joy and goodwill. Do not follow fear, follow love, because it is always in front of you. And remember to faith, just as I have faith in the principle of love. Act with purity of heart and mind. Despise none, defraud none, hate none. Cherish all. Honor every child of God, every creature of the earth. May all people know peace in this year. May you nurture kindness and love everywhere. Work to be present in the body. Expand your heart, quiet the mind, because the deepest source of real power lies in consciousness and the ability to be mindful, aware, present in all of life's circumstances. Love with the heart, because we're all part of a greater whole. Embrace love, not fear, forgiveness, not anger. Be there for someone, because someone will always be there for you whether you know it or not. Continue to explore faith and what it means to you, and never accept shame as a natural state. Whatever you feel, others have felt. Whatever you've experienced, others have too. We share together, we learn together, we help each other. We are each of us trying to find love and acceptance and support. That's all we want. We could or find that special someone in our lives. So if you don't have them, go and find them. Tell them what they mean to you. Keep forgiving those you need to forgive, and keep asking forgiveness from those you need to ask forgiveness of. It's not a one-day thing. Listen to the voice of God. She, he, it talks to you and tells you where to go. And maybe we are in the Akita of our times, with Israel representing Isaac and the hand of God about to strike us down. Great Roman poet Virgil once said, "Fugit irreparabile tempus." It escapes irretrievable time, which we've simplified to simply be tempus fugit. Time flies. And boy, does it ever fly. And one thing does not change. And what doesn't change is the relationship between Father and Son, between God and man. It's not time to make a change. Just relax. Take it easy. You're still young. That's your fault. There's so much you have to know. Find a girl. Settle down. If you want to, you can marry. Look at me. I'm old, but I'm happy. I was once like you are now. Know that it's not easy to be calm when you found something going on. Take your time, think a lot. Think of everything you've got. You will still be here tomorrow, but your dreams may not. The great song between Father and Son. But Israel's more than a dream. And it will still be here tomorrow and the day after that. We'll continue to play out the relationship of father and son with our Father. Well, thank you for joining me, my friends. Celebrate freedom and love. Let the world know that you walk in faith and in trust. Shabbat shalom and blessings to you all. Take care.